So this is lesson 12 in Algebra 2. This section is called the equation of a line. And whenever we're dealing with the equation of a line, we have an x value and we have a y value. And we also have no exponents on the x or the y. So we can't have something like this because there's an exponent. So it's an x and a y with no exponent, and that means when there's no exponent, it's called a first degree equation. And whenever you want to draw the picture of a first degree equation, you always get a straight line. And one of the things that you'll do when you get a first degree equation, like 2x plus 3y minus 6 equals 0, is you always try to set it equal to y. So you manipulate the numbers and letters around so that the y value is on the left side of the equal sign and the x value is first, and then a bunch of other numbers, that kind of thing, which in this case it'll only be one number that'll end up being there. And that's called the slope-intercept form of the equation. So let's go ahead and do that with this one. We're going to set it equal to y. So the first thing we do is we try to get rid of the numbers that are furthest away from y. So let's get rid of the 6 first, so we add it to both sides. So that equals 6. Whoops, that's supposed to be y. Then we get rid of this one. So it's added to the 3y, so we subtract it from both sides. So we end up with 3y equals negative 2x plus 6. Now notice, it doesn't matter what value is on the x, that needs to go first, even if it's a negative. Negative 2x plus 6. Now we still have a number being multiplied by that y. Now it's time to get rid of that. So we divide both sides, the entire thing, by 3. That makes those go away. Now we have to rewrite this into two fractions. So what we do is we split it up. Put that over 3, and we put that over 3. So we get negative 2x over 3 plus 6 over 3. 6 over 3 is actually 2. So now we have y equals that, and that is in the slope-intercept form. So I'm going to put this up here, kind of out of the way. Like that. And let's see if I can get rid of this other stuff that's in my way. So again, this is called the slope-intercept form, and it's always written y equals mx plus b. Okay, so this m is a number and this b is a number, and then the x and y are just on there. Okay, so what is m? M is a symbol for the slope of a line, and you've done all this before. But the slope goes from up to down or down up a certain measurement, and that measurement is called the slope. And so if we have a slope like negative 2/3, that means that from left to right it goes downhill, because that's what the negative means, is it tells you that it goes downhill. If that were a positive 2/3, then my line would be going uphill, so in a positive direction. Alright, the 2 represents, well, let me get my y equals mx plus b. The b represents the y-intercept, or where that line crosses the y line here, and the y line again is the up and down line. It says it crosses it at 2. So there's one of my points. You know, I need a couple points in either to connect the dots and give me a straight line. So I know it crosses at 2, and I know it has a slope of negative 2 over 3. So slope is always y over x, meaning that the top number is my up and down or my y value, and the bottom number is my left to right value or my x. So I start at my y-intercept, which is 2. And I look at the top number. It says negative 2. So I go down 2 because that's a y value, and negative is always down, positive is up. So I go down 2. And once I'm there, I look at the bottom number and it says go 3. Well, positive is this way, negative is that way, and it's positive, so then I go down 2 and then over 1, 2, 3. So I draw a dot there because that's my next point. Now that I'm there, I can draw my line, and that is a picture of this equation right there. So, let's see here. Let's go ahead and try a couple more practice problems from this lesson, and then I'll turn you loose. If we have a graph, if I have a graph that looks like that, and I'm looking at example 12.1, and they tell me it crosses here, and it goes like that. They're asking us to write an equation. Well, in order to write an equation, we have to put this, let's write the slope-intercept form. In order to write an equation, we have to know the slope, and we have to know where it crosses the y-axis. Once we know those two things, we can write the equation. That's always the way it is. You have to know the slope, and you have to know the y-intercept. Well, the y-intercept is right there, where it crosses the line y. So I know that that b, we're going to replace it with a positive 3, because we cross at positive 3. Then I've got an x, and then I've got a y, so all I'm looking for now is the m. So the m, like I'd said earlier, the m equals y over x. So in order to get to another point on this line, let's see, and a good idea is to find a point on the line where it crosses, like one of these crosshairs right here. You know, those are the ones you're looking for. So let's pick this one. So I'm going to put a circle there so I know where it's at. And I want to find out how I get from here to here. Well, according to my slope, I look at my y first. So I go down 1. So down 1 means I went -1 from my y-intercept. So from here to here I went 1. Then I went on the x, 1, 2, 3 over. So I went in the negative direction 3. A negative over a negative is a positive, so my slope is positive 1/3. So that ends up being the equation that they asked me to come up with for that line right there. So not too terribly difficult, and this concludes problem set 12 in Algebra 2.